Are we going to get into the big one? The big one that's about 20 minutes away from me here in Dallas? Or
yeah. I mean, we can get into it now.
The Cowboys are exactly who we thought they were. I don't know why anyone at any point was confused. It's business as usual over there in Arlington. I'm so shocked that anyone thought it was going to be different, honestly. And I'm really thinking about Dan today. Wherever Dan is, cousin Dan, I hope you're having a fantastic afternoon.
I'm not even gonna text Dan because he's gonna tell, what about your damn winners, nigga? Yeah, so I mean, I kind of feel like I couldn't even get off on the Cowboys like slander because of who them niggas lost to. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all niggas had one job. Like, y'all have one fucking job to get it right. And I just feel like at this particular time, it's just you got to break them niggas up. And it's just like I don't know how much more we can look at, you know, as what has been happening and think that this is just a crew that's gonna keep moving. This is not.
I got a question for y'all.
Go ahead.
I got a question for y'all because Dan Orlovsky been talking about it on every TV show he's been on today. And I actually agree with him. Do y'all think it's time to blow up Dallas Cowboys?
Mm-hmm. I think that's a tough question simply because Dak has got to get paid no matter what, right? Like, isn't he on the line for like $50 million next season?
It's like a $60 million cap.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Hit,
that's not. Said. I don't think that's. And again, y'all know that I'm not like a Dak Prescott fan, enthusiast, whatever you want to call it. I'm not on the Dak train, but I do think something's got to change, and I don't think that change starts with Dak. I feel like that change has to start with Mike McCarthy. That also, Dan Quinn. How do you change up the defensive scheme that you're running the entirety of the season? How do you change that up in week 19? What are you doing?
I think this is the worst week ever for Dan Quinn because of the jobs he is allegedly up for, and he put it out there and just put it like an absolute stinker defensively. It looked like the week 18 game against the Bears like just continued. Just how open Jaden Reed was, how open, you know, and these niggas is throwing like niggas I never heard of outside of like the couple.
Nobody on the Packers team is anybody that we really heard of outside of Aaron Jones. Yeah. I mean, it's all scheme. It's all scheme. I knew Jaden Reed, like I said, because I watched all types of fucking football on College Saturday, and I liked him looking at the wide receiver group that was coming into the draft. Yeah. He's from outside the crib. He went to Michigan State. He was a beast at Michigan State. And I thought that was somebody that the Bears should have looked at over like somebody like Tyler Scott. But like to go to Courtney's point, I mean, they got to run it back at least one more year with Dak. I think you just need another voice. They do have an influx of free agents that are going to be pending. I don't know. CeeDee Lamb is going to want to get paid. So I don't know. Like you can't ever reset it in Dallas. You can't rebuild in Dallas. There's just going to have to be a retooling. I mean, if they want to go ahead and go with a quarterback, go with a head coaching change. I mean, this is the year to do it. You have the best people out there. I think somebody we should look at is maybe like Mike Vrabel. Like if Belichick is not a realistic there, I think Mike Vrabel is perfect for that.
In my opinion, Mikey, I don't think that Cowboys fans that's going to be a hard sell. Like Mike McCarthy, I'm not a fan of his. But like he decided he wanted to take over the play calling, after Kellen Moore went to not San Diego. See, shows the power of branding, huh?
LA,
right? But no, I think anyone that isn't Bill Belichick would be a really hard sell for Cowboys fans because how do you say, oh, you know who didn't do the job but can do the job? Mike Vrabel. What did he do in Tennessee?
I think you could sell them off the simple fact that you've tried that before where you bring in a big name and they didn't get it done. So like you brought in the Parcells, you brought in all these guys. But the Cowboys fans, they're like Bulls fans. They'll buy anything. Like no disrespect. Like you put somebody in front of them, they're gonna buy it. It is what it is.
We got we're gonna go with our guesses here. We've got Reeta, the NFL chick, You can follow her on Twitter at the NFL Chick. She is one half of the Gridiron Gals podcast, also hosts the Winning Drive podcast, and is also on 105.7 The Fan out there in Baltimore. Thank you for joining us, G. How you feeling?
Thank y'all so much for having me. I'm ready for these 4:30/8:15 games that's getting ready to come up today.
Yeah, great scheduling by the NFL, putting this on in the middle of a Monday.
It's a holiday, right? It's a holiday, so it ain't too bad.
Not too bad. I definitely wanted to watch some, and that's why we're going early today. But we first of all, I want to give a shout out to my homegirl Shakia. She the one who hooked us up with this. Like I was supposed to have you on the show a long time ago. I'm glad we were able to actually get you on here. We're going to talk about your Ravens in a minute, but as you were joining, we were having a little bit of discussion about the Dallas Cowboys, and I said that usually I like laughing at the Cowboys, but this week they lost a team I hate more than anything on this earth, and that is the Green Bay Packers. What do you feel about what we saw this weekend from the Dallas Cowboys, and where do they go from here?
Oh, that's a lot. So I mean, what we saw was what we already know about the Dallas Cowboys, which is they're a team that, can do some things in the regular season, but when the lights really get bright, they look like a deer in headlights, right? And so while I thought that this was a matchup problem for them, because they do know how to run the ball, and I thought that Jordan Love had been playing well as of late. I didn't see that. I didn't see what we saw last night. I didn't foresee them getting beat down the way that they did. And maybe that's me. Maybe the signs were always there and I just didn't pay it any mind. But, you look at what they were able to do at home this year. I think they were undefeated at home. And yes, while they weren't world beaters against teams with winning records because they lost to the Dolphins. We know that they lost to the 49ers. The Packers kind of snuck their way into the playoffs. So I didn't think that they were going to get manhandled, not in wild card weekends. So where do they go from here is a really good question, because it does feel like that they're in a stagnant place. But to me, the problem, you can keep changing the coach. You can keep changing the quarterback. The ownership still is there. It's the same story. It's a different cast. But one thing that's consistent is Jerry Jones. So maybe Jerry Jones needs to look within himself and think that he's the problem instead of keep firing and rehiring and bringing in quarterbacks and all these things. Maybe it's you. Maybe you're not the talent evaluator that you thought you were. Maybe you're not the guy that can pick out coaches the way that you thought you were. Maybe it's a you problem. Maybe we need to start there.
Pass the collection plate on that one.
Yeah, exactly. You hit the nail on the head, because we've been talking about like ownership and like, situations, which I feel like something that the NFL fans try to, ignore. We see the ridiculous conversations we see on NFL Twitter every day. And like, somebody who's that brought up Mike Vrabel? Was that Mikey who you brought up, Mike Vrabel?
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel is a cool option. This is why I don't feel like Bill Belichick doesn't work, because it's just what you said, Reeta. When you talking about Jerry Jones, Belichick, it would never work. Bill Belichick didn't even want to work with Robert Kraft, and Robert Kraft isn't as hands-on as a Jerry Jones. Like Jerry Jones, the only owner that I've seen maybe since R.I.P. Jerry Buss, that when a team loses, they go to him. There's a flock of reporters around him. I cover the Bears. I've seen McCaskey one time in my 3 years of covering the team. Like I never see them. So Jerry is on the front line. So I feel like that is the difference right there. I personally think they just gotta break up the team. Do you think that Dak, with everything we've seen from Dak, finally having a great regular season, do you think it's time for them to part ways with Dak? Or, or they kind of stuck because of the contract they gave him?
Nah, I mean, see, I don't think that you're ever stuck. You can always find an opportunity if you really want to get out of something, right? It's going to cost you, but you can always get rid of a guy and then bring in a rookie quarterback. And then because they're on their first contract, their rookie contract, it won't pay you out as much. So it kind of balances itself out. But ultimately, maybe you have to start looking at like, do I want to trade Dak maybe for some draft picks? Is Dak necessarily the problem? And so while I think that Dak at moments can be problematic, and we saw that, last night, I don't think that Dak is the whole problem. Your run defense is not good. It's boom or bust. You either, make negative plays or you're giving up big yardages. Stephon Gilmore, I forgot he even played, honestly. You need to move him to safety, or you need to get rid of him, period. Because he's an old man out there. You got him out there playing corner against these young guys. He don't have it anymore. You need to be real about that. You need to get personnel, what you want to do. Because, look, you got Micah Parsons, you got Dexter Lawrence, you got dogs, but then you don't have, to me, you don't necessarily have enough. So, yes, Dak is part of the problem, but there's other parts of issues that this Dallas Cowboys team had. The first thing, right, and I know this is old news at this point, but who did y'all get to replace Amari Cooper? I don't have exactly. I know that CeeDee Lamb is CeeDee Lamb. We're going to, but how great would it have been to have CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper together to give
but they got Brandon Cooks.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a great addition.
Come on, Fred. I know what you know what. Look, I see Amari Cooper put up almost 300 yards in one football game. Like Brandon Cooks is a nice guy and he's a good football player. He ain't Amari Cooper, and that's what I know. And so, Jerry got in his little feelings because Amari Cooper didn't like to listen when it came to COVID, and he moved on. All right, fine, that's a business decision, but you never really replaced Amari Cooper. And so we like to be mad about what Cam said about game managers versus game changers, but that does need a little bit more help around him. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with saying that. You know what I'm saying? So either you're going to have to build around Dak and give him all of the weapons, or you got to move on and find somebody that you feel like can be a game changer, and you got to fix that defense.
Courtney, when you said they had Brandon Cooks, remind me, I'm gonna keep bringing that clip up. Anthony Edwards was like, yeah, they got KD, but we got Jay McDaniels. We got Jay McDaniels. That's who Brandon Cooks is.
That paper on this player haters, old news, money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna.